We're in Chicago, Illinois, following a big dump of snow. A home security camera records a dog on the sidewalk. It runs into a front yard, then moments later, its owner appears. She spots something of interest at the front door. It's her neighbor's snow shovel. And without asking, she decides to take it. Moments later, another camera shows the woman using the shovel to clear snow around her car. When she's done, she goes back home, taking her neighbor's shovel with her. Meanwhile, the neighbor's been watching the whole thing. He decides to teach her a lesson in neighborhood manners. First, he fires up his snowblower and proceeds to completely rebury the woman's car. Then he takes back his shovel. Later, the woman discovers the payback and has to dig out her car, armed with only a broom. The shovel owner says he would have gladly lent his neighbor the shovel, if only she'd taken the time to ask. But break the good neighbor code in Chicago, and revenge is a deep dish served very cold. Thanks to modern technology, it's easier than ever to get what you need sent right to your front door. Whether it's a large order of late-night impulse buys, some snacks meant for the dog, or a piping hot pizza with a side order of the Batusi dance. But today in Indiana, a man who ordered $120 worth of tacos believes that he's tracked down his delivery man. He's following the driver's last known location through their delivery app after his taco order never shows up. He convinces himself that the man in the hat is the delivery man, and the man in the yellow shirt is the delivery man's neighbor.
Listen, bro, he had an accident. I'm eating right now. I can show you I'm eating.
So where's the food at?
I don't know. He had an accident. He talked to
So you're telling me you ain't got the food here?
No.
The man in the yellow shirt claims the delivery man lost the tacos after getting in some kind of automotive accident, but he never contacted anybody to cancel the order. However, the man behind the camera thinks these two have helped themselves to his tacos. The man recording claims he can smell his order behind the door and is none too thrilled about it.
So the food just disappeared in the accident?
I guess he took it back. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know any of this stuff.
When suddenly, the suspected delivery driver bursts out the door
Stop!
with a knife. The taco fan didn't come for his food unarmed and quickly produces a 9mm handgun.
What's up?
Just leave, bro.
The dumbfounded duo are outgunned and quickly retreat into their home. Unfortunately, the man never recovers his tacos, and after getting a refund from the delivery app, orders lunch from a different neighborhood restaurant. But he believes he teaches them an important lesson that day. If you're working for a traceable delivery app and the food allegedly doesn't show up, don't be surprised if a hungry neighbor comes looking for their lunch.
What's up?
Just leave, bro.
45 miles northwest of Chicago is the city of Crystal Lake, Illinois, home to Aaron and Samantha Helmer and their 3 children.
Our neighborhood is nice, quiet, suburban American neighborhood. We've lived here for 4 years. We get along with all of our neighbors out here.
At 3 a.m. one morning, Aaron is awoken by an intruder alert from his home security system. A stranger has walked onto his driveway and tried the door of his unlocked car.
I look at my phone and see that my car door is wide open and the light is on. Didn't really think about if the guy had a weapon at all. I just knew that I didn't want somebody in my car.
Oh my God.
I slammed the car door shut on him just to kind of stun him because I didn't know what kind of size person he was when I first ran up to him.
Oh my God.
I'm 260 pounds. I'm a big guy. He was about 120 pounds soaking wet.
Drop whatever you have in there, okay? Yeah. All right. You okay?
Yeah, I'm so sorry.
I think this kid was scared that I came outside of my underwear.
What do you have in there? A wallet? Where's it at?
Then I had to call my wife and wake her up out of bed. 3 o'clock in the morning. I was scared doing that.
I was trying to make money or something. I'm hiring. Everybody's hiring.
Yeah, so much. I don't want to explain it.
Aaron called my phone and asked me to see if his wallet was on the counter in the house. I like to sleep, so I was not very happy that I got woken up to some kid breaking in our car.
Is my wallet in there?
So when I walked out, I just said it like right away, like, call the police. Like, why are we standing here?
What the f*** you doing?
I'm really sorry.
But then, like, I saw it was a kid, and I could see that, like, Aaron was kind of unsure of how to handle the situation. I just went into mom mode.
What else you got? What else did you steal from other f***ing people?
Just some money.
How old are you?
17.
What the f***?
I know, I'm sorry.
You trying to go to jail over stealing $5?
He was a young kid. If you call the cops on him right away, that could scar a young kid on his record. I used to get into trouble when I was younger, and I didn't want that.
How many other houses did he hit so I can get this back?
Honestly, I just wanted to get through to him, like, how stupid what he was doing really was.
You know, your whole life over some stupid
I'm not doing any damage to the charges.
If he would have caught the wrong house, he could have got shot over, like, a couple of dollars.
Think of this as your lucky break, man.
Yeah.
We talked for about 10 minutes or so. He never tried to run at all.
Where do you live?
I don't know that he was a neighbor, but I never ran into him before.
Still live at home with your parents?
Yeah.
Where do they think you are?
Empty the rest of your pockets.
So he had about 10 pairs of sunglasses, around 5 pairs of prescription glasses, about $5, $10,
Like 20.
$20. He had a pocket knife on him, and he had a bag of Skittles.
Learn your f***ing lesson.
I am, trust me. I'm so sorry.
Don't apologize to me.
Yeah.
Think about it.
We let him go before we called the police to come get the things. It's not ours. We wanted to get back to the people that it belongs to.
No, you know what?
You ever been in trouble with the police before?
No.
It's not fun, I can tell you right now.
He was apologizing that he would never do it again, and I think he got away with it once or twice and then realized the severity of it. If he does get caught, what kind of consequences come next.
I don't know. I think we made a good team of good cop, bad cop.
I'm going to fuck to bed.
I think our neighbors, him and his parents, would appreciate how the situation was handled. I mean, we still really don't know the full reason of why he was doing what he was doing. So as long as he took something away from it, that's good enough for me.
Like stupid.
Last year, Americans spent over $125 billion getting food delivered. The unsung neighborhood heroes are the delivery people who risk the elements, and sometimes even life and limb, to get it to us. Unfortunately, sometimes they have to deal with our less than pleasant neighbors.
Okay, so you're not gonna let me in to deliver this food. I have the number.
Don't point that
I'm trying to
Point that
have food I have to deliver to somebody, man.
Jordan Gibson is trying to deliver food to a customer in Westwood, California, when this nosy neighbor decides to interfere.
We don't deliver anything here. We
Well,
don't want
you're-
delivery.
You're not,
We don't want you
you
to
didn't get the
deliver
food.
I was just thinking that I'd be able to get through, but I realized that she was actually not going to let me through.
I don't want you here. I
You
don't want you here at all.
Having been denied entry to the building, Jordan uses the intercom to reach his customer.
Excuse me, Paul, there's a woman like at the door. My name
Hello?
is Jordan. I'm
Who
working
is
in
this?
place.
Who is
Excuse
this?
me, can you back
Who is
away from
this?
me, man?
No,
I'm not
this
even.
is my bill. I'm not gonna.
I'm
back
just
away
trying
from
to.
you. Who are you? I live here.
Who is this?
And I pay rent here.
So I do too, so what are you asking?
I'm asking you to get out of my building because you don't live here.
I'm a black man. I'm trying to deliver. My
I don't
mom is
care
in
if
the-
he's a
my
purple
mom,
man.
I'm
He
working
doesn't
for my
live
mom.
here.
Her name is Anna.
Yeah, I don't care.
My name
who
is
you're
Jordan.
working for.
I'm
I
trying
don't
to
care what
deliver
your
your
name
food.
is,
She
sir.
said
I
she
want you
was
out of the
hungry.
building.
Can you not touch me?
I don't know him. I know everybody in this building. He doesn't live here, and he's not a delivery boy.
He had no car, no bike, nothing.
That's my white car over there.
He's not a delivery. He is not a delivery service.
Hello?
He's a black guy walking around who has a clicker to get into any building he wants to. You got codes, dude.
I got codes.
You don't got a brain.
I don't got a brain.
She was harassing me. It was clearly racially motivated. And I was nervous because she seemed like she was a textbok Karen.
You're not getting in.
I'm not getting in.
You don't have a key, dude. You're not going to get
I just want to
I don't want him near here because I don't know him, and I don't want people buzzing him into my building.
I don't know how to do this for you, but
I don't want
she's like in front of the door. I can't.
Security building.
Just want to document this.
1-0.
Just doing my job.
Let's
one
see
of my
if it
3
works.
jobs.
They took my name off. Did you know that?
My mom raised me to not judge people. I think that a lot of people were raised on a different ideology, and this lady was one of them.
You're not getting in.
I'm not getting in.
You don't have a key, dude. I have a key.
That's cool.
Can
you not touch me?
No, can you not film me?
I'm gonna film what's going on. Could I just come downstairs?
Please, please. Yeah, I'd really appreciate it. Thank you.
As Jordan waits for the customer to come get his food, the neighbor gets increasingly aggressive.
I live here.
Then
I lived here for 7 years, and I don't like your phone.
Finally, the customer comes to collect his food.
Here, Paul.
No. Yeah, just get your food.
Thank you, Paul. I haven't gone. Sorry about that.
Now, why haven't I?
Once I did get away from the situation, I was very relieved. I felt good. And I was just glad that, it didn't escalate any further. I think that any black delivery driver going into her building would have been an issue. And I was stuck between these 2 people, just trying to do my job. It's just one more step to equality, to people actually seeing the same things that we're seeing.
I don't want you here. I don't want you here at all.
We're just doing our everyday stuff and having these people stop us from doing so. And I just wanted to make it clear that we still have a long way to go.
We're in Miami, Florida. It's 1 a.m., and at a downtown apartment complex, security cameras record a man wandering around the parking lot. He's carrying what looks like a gas can. One of the building's tenants, Miguel Quintero, is outside getting some air. He doesn't recognize the man.
Living there 5 years, I did know every single one of the neighbors. He walked by and I just knew something was up.
The stranger walks off, but minutes later, he's back. This time outside the door of an apartment. He unscrews his can, pours the contents on the doormat, and then sets it alight, and then runs away. Inside the apartment asleep is Susie Rios and her 2 young granddaughters, who she's babysitting for the night.
I'm one of those people that when I go to sleep, I hear nothing.
As Susie's door starts to burn, it triggers the smoke alarm.
I never even thought it was the fire alarm. As I'm walking down the stairs, all of a sudden I see the downstairs full of smoke. There was no rear exit. So my thoughts were, okay, what do I do? How do I get the girls out? I mean, it was just like all hell literally broke loose. God willing, there's a neighbor out there, someone's out there.
Susie's prayers are answered. Her neighbor, Miguel Quintero, has seen the flames and rushes to her door.
My first thought is, I have to pull this fire away enough from the door so that I can get to the door and bang on the door, ring the doorbell to wake everybody in that unit up. And then my next thought was, of course, let's go get him.
Incredibly, having just saved his neighbors, Miguel then chases down the arsonist.
He can hear my footsteps, and you see the fear in him when he hears me coming, because I'm coming in fast, and I'm a big locomotive coming towards him. So when he turns around, I see his eyes get real big, and he's just like, why? And from there is when I jump on top of him, and I know I'm not gonna hurt him too bad, but I'm definitely gonna do enough so that he knows he's not gonna go anywhere.
Miguel uses his college wrestling skills to restrain the man.
So I put his arm behind his back and, kept my arm around his neck. Not enough to choke him out, but enough to have control.
I finally get the door open, and Miguel starts screaming at me, call 911. He set the fire, call 911.
Just fired him. Is it him? Yep, hopefully. Yeah, I did. It's on the way.
I think time slowed down for me. In that moment, it felt like forever for them to get there, but when I look back, it was within minutes. So they handcuffed him and then, took him away and just kind of shook my hand and he did a good job here. As far as a weapon, I didn't think about it. I just knew I wanted to get him and bring him to justice.
No motive was ever given for his actions, but 23-year-old Luis Menendez was charged with arson and attempted murder. He was found guilty and sentenced to 5 years. Ever since the terrifying incident, Susie and her family can't thank their Good Samaritan neighbor enough.
My first reaction was that I need to have a statue erected to Miguel. I need to have a halo placed on his head. He was our godsend. He is our angel. And I look back on the footage, I'm just amazed that we're here. I'm here. Most importantly, that my 2 baby granddaughters are here.
There's nothing in this world that could repay him for what he did for me and my family. Sorry, just give me a second. There's not enough words to say thank you, really.
I want to be a good neighbor. I want to know my neighbors, and I want them to know, as different as we are, because God, we are different. We want the same things.
You never know when you're going to need each other. They could need you, you could need them.
And I just want them to know who I am and that I got their backs. And what's great is, I know they have my back.
When Ethan Edwards moved to Hawaii in 2014, he thought he'd found his own private Shangri-La.
I live on what we call the Big Island of Hawaii. People could create their kind of own paradise because they could kind of be in their own little walled garden and had a choice to hang out with their neighbors. It is very possible that you could live here and not know the person across the street for 20 years.
But in 2018, everything changed. The Kilauea volcano had been erupting for a month, reclaiming the island at a rate of 6 football fields every hour. By the time Ethan, his partner, and some friends returned to their neighborhood, Leilani Estates, to process what happened, 70 homes had been lost, including their own.
This was a couple weeks after lava had actually taken the place that I lived. They kind of had established a system to let people in and out of Leilani, because one of the issues they were having is that people were coming in and stealing from other people's houses. Kind of this mentality of the lava's gonna take it anyways, kind of who cares? And so they had to set up a system of security. We had lived there, so we were able to get past all the security. We were about 500 feet away from where our house used to be. So we just parked on the side of the road, and my partner, she got out and she was just looking at the lava and just crying about, the grief. And it was her letting it go. Obviously the lava was happening, but had no idea what we were about to experience. It just kind of came out of nowhere. And when I say it, I mean this man.
It was the first and last time Ethan would meet his neighbor, John Hubbard.
It's just kind of trying to have dialogue, but there wasn't communication. It was here's a man with a gun pointed at my head. It's you need to get out of here. And he didn't really care.
The men have no idea that they live on the same street, and Hubbard won't listen to Ethan's pleas.
I live here, you get out of here! He wasn't really asking any questions. He was straight up just demanding, get out of here, you shouldn't be here. We live here on Hulkville! And I was like, hey man, I don't know who you are. We live here, this is a public road. We have a right to be here. He fired twice, and there was this sense of escalation is he was becoming more and more serious. No! It's the first shot was a little off, and the next shot was closer to my head. I didn't want the third shot to be me.
Are you kidding me? Stop! Are you kidding me? No! I live here! I live here! Get out of here! I live here! You get out of here! We live here on Home Kufu! Dude!
And for me at that point, it was like, all right, this guy's got a gun. He's obviously not listening. He's in a super aggressive, violent state. It's time for us to get out of here.
To save his own life, Ethan had to think fast under fire.
So at the moment that I realized there was no communicating with this person to have, like, kind of find a peaceful resolution, I was like, okay, either I'm gonna get shot here or someone else is gonna get shot behind me. There's really no neutralizing someone in that state that isn't willing to listen. All you can really do is ultimately walk away and hope they don't shoot you or anyone else. And that's what we ended up doing.
Get out of here!
Ethan's read on the situation may have saved his life and those of his friends.
We were all able to get in our cars and drive up the road. At that point, we called the police and we just hung out there for about a half an hour in our car just in case he came after us. Kind of in shell shock, just like processing.
That's when Ethan found an unexpected savior.
And so we're sitting there on the side of the road and this car comes by and just parks next to us, and this woman comes out and she's like, oh my gosh, are you kids okay? I caught the whole thing on camera. That was insane, which is amazing because there's no shadow of a doubt kind of what happened from that point.
She was a neighbor named Patty Jones.
But the way they were arguing, I thought this was weird. It's just that this guy wasn't acting. He wasn't acting with aloha. So I pulled out my phone and started recording at exactly the minute he pulled that gun out of his shorts. I wasn't worried about myself. I was more worried about Ethan.
I live here! I live here! I live here! You get out of here!
My concern was just to protect everybody that was down there, so I had to get the police involved.
Dude!
The police arrived on the scene and arrested 61-year-old John Hubbard. During Hubbard's trial, Ethan learned that his neighbor was a convicted felon, going back to a drug trafficking charge in Kentucky in 1976.
John had actually had a past felony and wasn't legally allowed to have a gun. And so in terms of charges, there was, I think, initially like 11 different charges.
Hubbard was convicted of terroristic threatening and for being a felon in possession of a firearm.
He did end up going to jail. I did talk to people that were friends with him, and on a good day, he was probably a nice neighbor and a good person. And stressful situations mixed with this entitlement of people believing that it's okay to be violent and force other people just came out that day. And I hope we can just move on and live our lives and more peacefully going forward.
Over to Chicago, Illinois, where it's cleanup day after a massive snowstorm. Ted Sirota, a professional drummer, has borrowed a snowblower to clear the snow off of his car.
We had one of the largest blizzards in history, and everything was just completely covered. In our neighborhood on this block, especially with the immediate neighbors, it was a really great, community.
After clearing his car, Ted decides to be a good neighbor.
The woman that lived next door, she was pregnant, and I thought it'd just be a nice gesture to just go out and snow blow the whole drive for them.
Only Ted knows to be wary of a man who lives on the other side of his neighbor's garage, a man called Gary.
You don't blow snow up here!
Gary, to me, was never friendly. I don't know why. When I would see him, I would say hi, and he would just kind of sneer at me or look away. So with the snowblower, I was very conscious of Gary and how sensitive he is about his property and his property line. I was completely done with the job, and I was getting ready to go back in when he came out. And I thought, oh no, here we go.
You don't blow snow up here!
So your yard should be completely snow-free, right?
It is snow-free!
Because you're Gary, right?
It is snow-free, all the way back to there!
Okay, well, this wasn't cleared.
Yes, it was cleared! It was cleared at 11 a.m.
Can you yell a little bit louder so everyone in the neighborhood
I
can hear
don't
you?
give a who the hears it!
Really? Okay, well then go ahead, yell louder. I have my hat on so it's protecting my ear.
I like to use humor to try to diffuse situations. I think people take things way too seriously for the most part.
But if you want to be such
You don't blow it here anymore!
Okay, sir.
Now clear it out!
You, I'm not clearing.
You
Yeah.
You worthless pile of
Once he started yelling in my face, I just kind of played along with him, man. Definitely pushed his buttons.
Go back inside where it's safe for you, okay?
you!
Okay.
Do not clear off my can!
Oh, okay. I won't touch your garbage can. I'm sorry I touched your garbage can. Oops.
Oh, you are a
Gary.
psychopath.
Oh my God. All right.
You are a psychopath.
I'll tell Chris I was trying to do something nice for him.
You
and you came out here. What, you think I'm clearing off that garage for me? Look at it, dumb.
Put it here!
Where should I put it?
I don't know where, but you don't do it here.
You tell me,
I don't
Your
care
Highness. Tell me where to put it. Show me.
Not here.
You know, I do regret kind of the nastiness of the argument.
You, I'm not clearing.
I think that every little confrontation in our neighborhoods could probably be resolved in a positive manner that would uplift humanity instead of bring us down.
Bye. Have a nice day, Gary.
Oh, shut
you
the
a snowball later.
You
You are incredible.
And I believe Gary is still there, but I haven't seen him recently.
And as a gesture of peace and understanding in the world, I present Gary Snow with the flower. All right?
You
Many folks dream of leaving the big city for a quiet life in the countryside, and Ian Walton is one of them.
I grew up in Hollywood. As soon as I turned 18, I started heading up into the mountains.
Ian makes the remote, idyllic town of Otis, Oregon, his new home.
It is gorgeous here. This place is basically a paradise on Earth.
As Ian settles into his new life, he gets to know the neighbor who lives down the street.
Initially, when I met him, we kind of focused on things we had in common. You know, we'll shoot the crap and be friendly neighbors.
But one night, he sees another side to his new drinking buddy.
I had just gotten paid and I got a 6-pack of beer and went over there. As I was walking up to his door, I hear him yelling on the phone, "I'm gonna kill him, I'm gonna kill him, I'm gonna kill him." He's got this handgun sitting out on the table. You know, I didn't really realize that, you know, he was going over to the guy's house later that night to actually go get him.
Ian learns from others in the neighborhood that his friend didn't kill the man he was threatening on the phone, but he did put him through hell.
What I've been told is he took the guy and his wife hostage in their house and just terrorized them for hours and hours, and it was over something petty like $500.
Ian's neighbor goes on the run, but is eventually arrested and jailed for burglary and coercion.
I think he did 2 or 3 years in a medium security prison. Once he got out, you know, I didn't want to have anything to do with him anymore.
Although Ian wants to avoid his neighbor, it proves impossible. Living on a one-track road, he has to pass his neighbor's house every day, whether walking his dog or driving his car. And he must encounter not only him, but his new friends in the neighborhood, who Ian feels are not very friendly. As a precaution, Ian starts recording his daily walks with his dog, Loki.
Loki is the sweetest, most gentle creature pretty much I've ever met. Go.
Out of the blue, the neighbor's dog attacks Loki until Ian scares him off with a stun gun.
I was furious. The attack damaged Loki so much psychologically.
The police fine his neighbor for having an unruly dog off leash. But Ian doesn't trust him to keep his dog secure. So, on future walks, Ian is even more prepared. And when the neighbor's dog is off leash again, Ian has bear spray. Later, when Ian checks the security footage, he sees his neighbor walking close to the camera revealing a hunting belt, which includes a revolver. As a recent felon, Ian's neighbors shouldn't be carrying a gun. Ian feels very threatened.
He's basically waging psychological warfare.
So, Ian feels compelled to better protect himself.
I started carrying a pistol. The reason I wear a camera on my wrist is I figured, if I ever had to use the gun, the camera would show exactly what I was seeing at the time I was shooting.
One day, after picking up the mail, Ian's worst fears come true. As he returns home, he finds his neighbor standing in the middle of the road and brandishing a knife.
He instantly starts shouting threats. The first thing I hear is, I'm gonna beat out of you.
Get out of the road, man! Get out of the road! Away from me!
One of his closest friends, decided he was gonna hop in his truck and stop me from getting to my house.
As Ian reverses, he sees the truck heading in his direction.
At that point, he's coming after me, so I threw the car in reverse and I said, I'm gonna go fly up this driveway, or I'm gonna get onto private property.
Ian grabs his camera and his gun and gets out to confront the driver of the truck.
You're in trouble now.
Little did I know that at that point, they were calling 911.
You're standing right around with a handgun in your hand, pointing it at people.
Get the away from me! Get away from me! Sheriff showed up, and it was actually a deputy that I knew. Told him, come in my house, look at the film I shot.
Neither Ian or anyone else is arrested over the incident. To this day, Ian refuses to leave the Oregon home he shares with his mother, despite feeling scared of his neighbor, no matter how much he tries to ignore him.
I never know what's going to come out of there at me. Is it going to be a vicious dog? Are they going to shoot at me with BB guns? Are they going to come tearing out of the driveway in their car, and make me jump out of the road? It never crossed my mind that, I would be dealing with a neighbor basically trying to force me to move with threats and harassment. But, I could never go back to the city. This is our home. First of all, I would feel like a coward if I left. And second of all, I would just be in this state of rage for the rest of my life. Basically that, they got away with it. So I'm just not having it.
And I got you on video that you're destroying my car.
Chatsworth, California. A dispute over a parking spot has sent this hammer-wielding neighbor into a rage.
Get the out of this neighborhood.
Yep. Cool, lady.
Call, please.
I'm calling. Don't worry.
The woman's neighbors have made claims of racism and harassment since they moved next door to her over a year ago. They dial 911.
Hi, I'm at one. My neighbor has two hammers in her hand and she's assaulting the car.
She's destroying property, and I have her on video.
Call, please.
As a result of her senseless attack on the car, the woman was later arrested for felony vandalism. She was released without bail and is currently awaiting trial. Now to Queens, New York, where lifelong resident Joseph Aspromonte lives in a nice little home, only a quick train ride away from the Big Apple.
Well, I've lived in this neighborhood all my life, but I moved into the house that I'm currently living in back in 2014. The neighborhood that I live in is row houses, which is common in Queens. I get along with everybody on the block. It's a pretty tight-knit community, but small, kind of off the beaten path, which is nice.
Shortly after moving into his new home, Joseph discovers that one neighbor has a mouth as tough as the streets of New York itself.
Yourself and drop dead!
I was warned by the people that previously owned the house that the lady next door was a little aggressive and she might come out and yell at me.
Yourself and drop dead!
It's beautiful.
Yourself and drop dead!
My first experience with her was when I was in my driveway with my garage door open. She started screaming about my garage door being open somehow would make her house cold.
Close that door!
What for?
It's cold!
That's all right, I'm warm.
I'm cold
dog.
The houses are attached, but there is a big giant cinder block wall between my garage and her garage. And there's no way that having my garage door open would make her house cold.
What does my door open have to do? Yourself and drop dead.
She does have that one motto that she keeps going back to, that F yourself and drop dead.
Yourself and drop dead. Yourself and drop dead. Yourself and drop dead.
In that order. I guess I couldn't drop dead and then go myself. Wouldn't work. All right, myself and then drop dead.
This seems to be her go-to.
As the years go by, Joseph's neighbor shows no sign of slowing down, quickly flying off the handle at the smallest things.
No! Yes, take that ladder off my property!
It's not on your property!
Even something as simple as a line on the curb from the city is enough to set her off.
Look at the curb, you
What happened to the curb?
She's just pissed off at the world, I guess. She just doesn't like anybody. I get the brunt of it because I happen to live next door to her, but she's this way with everybody in the neighborhood. Down the block, across the street.
I'm telling her, take that ladder off my property!
Just people driving by.
In my driveway. Get the out!
And she will unleash her wrath on anybody.
Get the out!
There are times that I worry about her safety just because of the way she acts with people.
Get the out of my driveway!
In one of these episodes, the police were actually called, not by me. What happened was one of the cars pulled over in her driveway while she was sweeping. And that didn't sit well with her, so she started screaming at him.
Get the out of my driveway!
And then she took a broom and she started smacking the roof of his car and started making dents in it. So bad that he actually called the cops on her.
Yourself and drop dead!
And when the cops came, I had to intervene. I just went over to the cops and I said, listen, she's upset, so if you don't mind, if you would just let her kind of slide on this, that it would be great. And they did.
You know where I live? No, you don't. I don't give a where you live.
The past couple of years, she has been very quiet and to herself. I believe she's also maybe not in the best of health now that she's getting older and realizes she may have to someday rely on her neighbors for help. And if that were ever the case, I would be there to help her because she is a person and I wouldn't let her go down.
Do you want a hot chocolate?
Yourself and drop dead.
All right.